Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a story where you're flipping through a family album. The page is crisp and yellowed, only to find your own face missing, erased like you were never there. Imagine the sting of that betrayal, the scent of old paper mixing with the ache in your chest as you realize someone's trying to rewrite your history with your daughter. It's a tale of quiet revenge and a little girl's fierce loyalty, and you probably won't survive the emotional punch waiting for you. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. I'm curious who's joining me on this ride. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're sitting cross-legged on the living room floor, the carpet rough under your knees, as you pull the family album from a dusty shelf. It's Thursday, May 15th, 2025, 3:34 p.m., and the afternoon light slants through the blinds, casting golden stripes across the pages. You've been meaning to show your daughter Lily, now 8, these memories, snapshots of her first birthday, your wedding, picnics at the lake. But as you turn the pages, your breath catches. Every photo with you in it has been altered. Your face, your body gone, replaced with awkward blanks or cropped edges. It's like you've been scrubbed from existence. Your ex, Mark, has custody most of the week, and you've suspected he's been poisoning Lily against you. But this is a new low. You run your fingers over a photo from Lily's 5th birthday, where you'd been blowing bubbles with her, laughing as they floated skyward. Now it's just Lily and a patch of empty grass. Your heart pounds, a mix of fury and hurt, as you realize Mark's trying to erase you from her memories entirely. In 1984, U.S. courts began recognizing parental alienation as a factor in custody disputes, a term that feels all too real now. Historians still argue whether such tactics cause lasting harm or just temporary rifts. You find a quirky tidbit in your memory. Victorian families sometimes burned photos to erase disgraced kin, a grim parallel to Mark's stunt. You slam the album shut, the sound sharp in the quiet house, and mutter, "Guess I'm not invited to memory lane." Lily's at school, but you'll see her tomorrow, and you're already plotting how to fight back. You think of that crocodile using sunscreen from another tale. Mark's smugness feels just as absurd now. You grab your phone, snapping pictures of the tampered album for evidence, your resolve hardening. Lily deserves to know her real history. And you're not letting Mark rewrite it. You're pacing the living room now. The family album still open on the coffee table, its tampered pages glaring up at you like an accusation. The clock ticks past 3:35 p.m. on this Thursday, May 15th, 2025. The date already seared into your memory as the day you uncovered Mark's betrayal. Your phone buzzes with a text from Lily's school about a bake sale, but your mind's elsewhere, piecing together the puzzle of your ex's scheme. Those photos, your face erased, your presence scrubbed, aren't just a petty jab. They're a deliberate attempt to erase you from Lily's memories, to make her forget the mom who braided her hair and taught her to catch fireflies. The realization hits like a punch, and you sink onto the couch, the cushion sagging under you. You start digging, pulling out old emails and texts from Mark, looking for clues. There's a message from last month, casual but pointed. Lily doesn't need to dwell on the past. At the time, you thought he meant your divorce, but now it clicks. He's been planning this erasure, rewriting history to make himself the sole hero in Lily's story. You think of the family gatherings he's hosted lately, showing off updated albums to relatives, and your stomach twists. He's not just erasing you from photos, he's trying to erase you from her heart. In 1995, U.S. psychologists coined parental alienation syndrome, describing tactics like this to turn kids against a parent. Historians still argue whether it's a real diagnosis or just a legal weapon. You notice a quirky detail on the album's spine, a tiny sticker of a cartoon frog, something Lily stuck there years ago, a reminder of her joy before Mark's games began. You mutter, "Guess he didn't erase the frog yet," trying to lighten the sting, but your anger simmers. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen, Mark's sneaky vibes matching its absurdity. You grab a notebook, jotting down dates and memories, determined to prove what he's done. Lily's coming over tomorrow, and you're already planning how to counter this. Mark's not getting away with rewriting your story. You're in the kitchen now, the clock on the wall ticking past 3:36 p.m. on this Thursday, May 15th, 2025, the scent of brewing coffee filling the air as you wait for Lily to arrive. You've spent the morning replaying Mark's scheme in your head, those family photos with you erased, a calculated move to scrub you from her memories. But your focus shifts as you hear the doorbell, a sharp chime that pulls you from your thoughts. Lily's here, her backpack slung over one shoulder, her smile bright but tinged with something you can't quite place. You hug her tight, the warmth of her small frame grounding you, and notice she's clutching a little wooden box, one you gave her last year to keep her treasures. You sit her down at the table, pouring her a glass of lemonade, the ice clinking softly as you ask about her day. She chatters about school, but your eyes keep drifting to that box. "What's in there, sweetie?" You ask and she hesitates, then opens it, revealing a single photo, untouched, vibrant, showing you and her at the beach, building a sandcastle, your laughter frozen in time. "I saved it," she whispers, "like you told me to." Your heart leaps. You'd forgotten that moment last year when you'd slipped her the photo, a backup plan in case Mark tried something like this. In 2000, U.S. courts started recognizing children's keepsakes as evidence in alienation cases, a small win for parents like you. Historians still argue whether such evidence truly sways rulings or just complicates family dynamics. You notice a quirky detail, a tiny seashell stuck to the photo's corner, a relic from that beach day, adding a tactile memory to the image. You chuckle softly, saying, "Looks like the ocean wanted to photobomb us." And Lily giggles, easing the tension. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen, Mark's erasure attempt as slippery as that absurd image. You pull Lily close, whispering, "You're my little hero," as the photo sits between you, a lifeline to the truth Mark tried to bury. Tomorrow's family reunion looms, and you're already imagining how this keepsake might shift the narrative. You're sitting at the kitchen table with Lily, the lemonade glass now half empty, the ice melting into a puddle as the clock ticks to 3:37 p.m. on this Thursday, May 15th, 2025. The photo she saved, your beach day together, sandcastles and all, rests between you, its untainted colors a quiet rebellion against Mark's erasure of you from the family albums. Lily's eyes are wide, her small fingers tracing the seashell on the photo's corner, and you can tell she understands more than an 8-year-old should. You lean in, the scent of her strawberry shampoo grounding you, and whisper a strategy, your voice low and steady. "At the reunion tomorrow," you say. "When they show their photos, you show this one. Tell them the truth." Her nod is small but firm, a spark of courage in her gaze. You spend the afternoon prepping her, practicing what she'll say, keeping it simple. "My mom gave me this, but Daddy tried to make her disappear." You're careful not to push too hard, but you know this moment could shift everything at the family gathering Mark's hosting. He's been parading his updated albums to relatives, erasing you to rewrite history, but Lily's keepsake is your ace. You think of the power of truth in small hands. Lily's your messenger now. In 2005, U.S. family courts began emphasizing children's voices in disputes, giving kids like Lily a platform to speak. Historians still argue whether this empowers children or places unfair burdens on them. You notice a quirky detail on the table, a tiny scratch shaped like a heart, something Lily carved during a craft day last year, a reminder of her fierce love. You chuckle, saying, "Guess the table's rooting for us too," and she giggles, easing the weight of the plan. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen, Mark's sneaky moves as absurd as that image, but Lily's bravery feels like a shield. You tuck the photo back into her box, whispering, "We'll show them tomorrow," as the day stretches ahead, heavy with the promise of justice. You're in the car now, the engine humming softly as you drive toward the family reunion, the clock on the dashboard reading 03:38 p.m., On this Thursday, May 15th, 2025, the afternoon sun filters through the trees, casting dappled shadows across Lily's face as she clutches her wooden box in the passenger seat. The photo inside, your beach day untainted by Mark's edits, feels like a secret weapon, its weight settling in your chest. You're heading to Mark's house where relatives will gather, and you can already picture his smug grin as he flaunts those altered albums, erasing you from Lily's past. The air smells of pine and anticipation, and your hands tighten on the wheel, nerves and resolve mixing like a storm brewing. You glance at Lily, her small frame tense but determined, and murmur, "Ready to show them the real story?" She nods, her fingers tracing the box's edge, and you feel a surge of pride. The reunion's a chance for Mark to parade his narrative, but you've armed Lily with the truth. You remember the practice session yesterday, her voice steadying as she rehearsed, and it bolsters your hope. In 2010, U.S. family courts began allowing children to present evidence in alienation cases, a rule that might just give Lily's photo power. Historians still argue whether this practice protects kids or exposes them to family conflicts too soon. You notice a quirky detail, a pine cone rolling off the road as you pass, a tiny nod to nature's indifference to your drama, adding a touch of whimsy. You chuckle, saying, "Even the pine cones are dodging this mess," and Lily smiles, easing the tension. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen, Mark's arrogance as slippery as that image, but Lily's courage feels like a lifeline. You pull into the driveway, the house looming ahead with its manicured lawn, and take a deep breath. Mark's waiting, oblivious to the reckoning you and Lily are about to unleash. You're stepping out of the car, the clock on your phone now, showing 03:39 p.m. plus 07 on this Thursday, May 15th, 2025. The warm afternoon breeze carrying the scent of freshly cut grass as you and Lily approach Mark's house. The reunion's already underway, voices spilling from the open windows, a mix of laughter and clinking glasses that feels like a mask over the tension you're carrying. Lily clutches her wooden box, her small hand brushing yours, and you feel the weight of the moment. Mark's inside, likely smug, ready to display those albums where your face has been erased. The porch creaks under your feet, and you steel yourself knowing this gathering could turn into your battlefield. Inside, the living room buzzes with relatives, your aunt with her loud jewelry, your cousin with his endless stories, gathered around a table where Mark's spreading out the updated family photos. You spot your absence immediately, those blank spaces where you once stood with Lily, and your chest tightens. Mark catches your eye, his grin widening as he hands an album to your uncle, saying, "Just keeping things current." The arrogance drips from him, and you bite your tongue, thinking of the photo Lily saved. In 2015, U.S. courts began addressing photo tampering in alienation cases, a precedent that might back you up. Historians still argue whether such evidence shifts power to parents or complicates justice. You notice a quirky detail, a vase of wilting daisies on the mantel, drooping as if they're tired of Mark's show, adding a subtle nod to the room's unease. You lean toward Lily, whispering, "Your turn soon," and try a light jab. Maybe those flowers will testify too, earning a tiny giggle. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen, Mark's slippery confidence as absurd as, that image. But Lily's presence steadies you. The relatives ooh and ah over the photos, oblivious for now, and you wait, the air thick with the promise of Lily's brave moment. You're standing near the edge of the living room, the clock on the mantel ticking past 03:41 p.m. plus 07 on this Thursday, May 15th, 2025, the air thick with the scent of potluck dishes and strained smiles. The relatives are still cooing over Mark's altered albums, your absence from the photos a silent wound as he leans back, basking in their approval. Lily's beside you, her wooden box clutched tight, her small fingers trembling slightly, and you feel the tension coiling in your chest. The moments close. Mark's smugness is at its peak, handing out copies of the new family history, and you nod to Lily, whispering, "Now's your time, sweetie." Her eyes meet yours, a flicker of resolve, and she steps forward. The room's chatter fading into a hush. Lily climbs onto a chair, her voice small but clear as she calls out, "Wait, I have a photo too." Mark's grin falters, his head snapping toward her, but she's already opening the box, pulling out that beach day picture. Your laughter with her, the sandcastle intact, untouched by his edits. "This is my mom," she says, holding it high. "Daddy tried to make her disappear." The room freezes, gasps rippling through the crowd, and you see your aunt's jaw drop, your cousin's eyes widen. In 2020, U.S. courts began recognizing children's testimony as pivotal in alienation. Disputes, a rule that might amplify Lily's words. Historians still argue whether this empowers kids or thrusts them into adult battles too early. You notice a quirky detail. The daisies in that wilting vase seem to perk up slightly in the light, as if cheering Lily on, adding a whimsical touch to her bravery. You murmur to yourself, even the flowers are on Team Truth, and stifle a chuckle, the tension easing just a bit. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen. Mark's arrogance now as flimsy as that image, melting under Lily's stand. Mark stammers, reaching for the photo, but Lily pulls it back, her voice growing stronger, and you feel the room shift, the tide turning in your favor. You're still in the living room, the clock on the mantel frozen at 03:42 p.m. plus 07 on this Thursday, May 15, 2025, the air now charged with a stunned silence as Lily holds that beach photo aloft. The relatives' gasps have turned into a low murmur, their eyes darting between Lily's determined face and Mark's sudden pallor. The photo, your unedited moment with her, sandcastles and all, glows in the soft light, a stark contrast to the blank spaces in Mark's albums. You feel a rush of pride, your chest swelling as Lily stands tall on that chair, her voice echoing, "This is my mom, and Daddy tried to erase her." The room's energy shifts, a wave of shock and judgment, rippling through the crowd, and you know the tide has turned. Your aunt clutches her necklace, whispering to your cousin, "Did he really do that?" While your uncle shakes his head, his brow furrowed. The photo's truth hits hard, exposing Mark's scheme, and you see his hands tremble as he tries to laugh it off, saying, "It's just a misunderstanding." But the relatives aren't buying it. Your cousin steps forward, asking Lily to show the photo again, and the murmurs grow louder, a chorus of disbelief. In 2021, U.S. family courts began penalizing parental alienation tactics with sanctions, a trend that might haunt Mark now. Historians still argue whether such measures deter manipulation or deepen family rifts. You notice a quirky detail. The wilting daisies in that vase seem to lean toward Lily, as if drawn to her courage, adding a touch of nature's whimsy to this showdown. You lean toward her, whispering, "You're amazing," and toss out a quiet joke. Those flowers might join your fan club next, earning a tiny smile. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen, Mark's slippery confidence, now a distant memory washed away by Lily's bold stand. The relatives' stares bore into him, and you feel the weight of his shame, the room's judgment, a victory you can almost touch. You're still rooted in the living room, the clock on the mantel now showing 03:44 p.m. plus 07 on this Thursday, May 15, 2025. The air thick with the hum of shocked whispers as Lily's photo continues to dominate the scene. The relatives circle her, their faces a mix of awe and outrage, while Mark's attempt to laugh off the exposure crumbles under their scrutiny. His hands fumble with the album on the table, pages fluttering as he stammers, "I just thought it was better this way," his voice cracking with desperation. You watch, your heart pounding, as the truth of his erasure plan unravels. Your beach day with Lily, preserved in her hands, a stark rebuttal to his blank edits. The room's energy crackles, and you feel a bittersweet victory brewing. Your aunt steps closer, her voice sharp. "Mark, how could you do this to her?" And your uncle nods, his disapproval clear. The photo passes from hand to hand, each relative pausing to study it, their murmurs growing into a quiet condemnation. Lily stands firm, her small frame a beacon of courage, and you see Mark's face flush, His earlier crocodile sunscreen confidence replaced by a shameful retreat. In 2022, U.S. courts began ordering therapy for parents caught in alienation schemes, a potential fate for Mark now. Historians still argue whether such interventions heal families or prolong pain. You notice a quirky detail. The daisies in that wilting vase seem to droop further, as if exhausted by the drama, adding a touch of nature's commentary to the moment. You whisper to Lily, "You've got them all," and try a light quip. Even the flowers are too tired to defend him, drawing a soft laugh from her. You think back to finding those tampered albums, the spark that led here, and feel the sting of being erased, softened by this triumph. Mark mutters an apology, but it's hollow, and the relatives' stares linger, their judgment a heavy cloak on his shoulders as you savor the moment. You're still in the living room, the clock on the mantel ticking to 03:45 p.m. plus 07 on this Thursday, May 15, 2025. The air now softer, laced with the scent of cooling potluck dishes as the reunion winds down. The relatives have dispersed into smaller groups, their voices a low hum, but their glances still linger on Mark, his shame a tangible weight as he sits alone, flipping through his tampered album with trembling hands. Lily's photo, your beach, day untouched and vibrant, has been passed around, a quiet testament to her courage, and you feel the bittersweet victory settle into your bones. You're standing near the window, Lily beside you, her wooden box resting on the sill, and you pull her close, the warmth of her small body a balm to the pain of being erased. The relative's judgment has shifted the family dynamic. Your aunt offers a tight smile, whispering, "We'll fix this," while your cousin promises to dig out old photos to restore your place. Mark's attempt to rewrite history has backfired, leaving him isolated, but the ache of his betrayal lingers in your chest. You think of the memories you've built with Lily, the ones he can't touch, and feel a quiet strength growing. In 2023, U.S. family courts started emphasizing restorative justice in alienation cases, encouraging families to rebuild rather than just punish. Historians still argue whether this approach truly heals or merely delays deeper wounds. You notice a quirky detail. The daisies in that vase have shed a petal, drifting to the floor like a silent surrender, a final nod to the day's drama. You murmur to Lily, "Looks like the flowers called it quits in," and she giggles, the sound a healing melody. You think back to that crocodile using sunscreen, Mark's slippery schemes as faded as that absurd image, replaced by the truth you and Lily have reclaimed. You take her hand, stepping outside, the evening air cool against your skin, and whisper, "Let's make new memories, kiddo," as the stars begin to peek through the twilight. The night wraps you in its gentle embrace, the sky deepening to a velvet blue as you and Lily walk toward the car, her hand small but steady in yours. The hum of crickets fills the air, a soothing rhythm that eases the day's sharp edges, and you feel the weight of Mark's betrayal fade, replaced by a tender hope. The photo in her box, your beach day preserved, glows in your memory, a beacon of love that no one can erase. You drive home under the stars, the road stretching softly ahead, and let the fans hum welcome you back, a whisper of peace as you drift into dreams of brighter tomorrows.